This is New York One Live at 10. Here's what we're following tonight. A candlelight vigil for a 19-year-old killed in an horrific crime. The mother of 19-year-old DeAndre Matthews speaking out. Arnold Davick standing by. Plus, JFK's Terminal 1 is in the dark tonight. Planes are being diverted and passengers need a plan B until tomorrow morning. We're live from the scene. And lawmakers raising red flags tonight when it comes to facial recognition technology. Why Madison Square Garden is under increased scrutiny tonight. Those stories and more happening now on New York One Live at 10. Thanks for being here with us on this Thursday night. I'm Cheryl Wills. We begin tonight in Brooklyn, where mourners gather for a vigil in honor of DeAndre Matthews. The 19-year-old was found dead with burns to his body and a gunshot wound to his head. Family members tonight want to know who would do such a thing to a young man who never bothered anybody. His mother tonight telling us this was personal.
I just hope we just get justice. That's all you can say. That's all. Yes.
As grieving mother overcome, she'll bury her son tomorrow. Tonight, Arnold Davick is live in Bed-Stuy. He's leading us off tonight. Good evening, Arnold.
Cheryl, good evening. As you can imagine, this is a very difficult time for this family, so they had few words in front of the cameras. But off to the side, this victim's sister tells us that she will always remember her big brother as someone who always watched over her and cared for her. Tonight, this family asking for justice as police continue to look for a killer.
I'm just angry, and I want justice for my son.
Danielle Matthews struggling to find words through unimaginable emotions. Her 19-year-old son, DeAndre Matthews, was killed earlier this month. Matthews, a gay man, found dead on freight tracks in Midwood, shot in the head and burned last week. Thursday night, a group of about 60 gathered for a vigil in his honor at Restoration Plaza in Bed-Stuy, hosted by the nonprofit New York City Anti-Violence Project, which focuses on combating violence against people in the LGBTQ community.
We really wanted to lift up the voices and experiences of this Black queer young man who was really gone from us far too soon.
No arrests have been made and investigators have not revealed a motive for his killing, but many advocates say they wanted to be here to shed light on DeAndre's case.
The vicious attack on DeAndre is a painful reminder of the violence that many of us as members of the LGBTQ community, especially people of color, continue to face.
DeAndre's sister, 17-year-old Dejanay Gillespie, didn't want to speak on camera, but she shared these images of her big brother. She told us this was her favorite picture of him, wearing scrubs during his time at the High School for Medical Professions in Canarsie. At the time of his death, he was a SUNY Empire student with dreams of becoming a social worker, a professor with the college, reading words from faculty members who knew the young man.
I was fortunate enough to have Dre in class 3 different times, and I will miss his personality and his ability to be friends with everyone.
Advocacy organizations vow to fight for justice and to help the family in any way they can.
Say his name!
Now, the funeral for DeAndre Matthews will be held tomorrow afternoon at Caribe Funeral Home in Flatlands. Now, the family and these advocates are calling for justice. They say they will not rest until whoever is responsible is caught, Cheryl.
Arnold Davick leading us off in Brooklyn tonight, turning now to a story we've been following all week. That U-Haul driver accused of going on a rampage through the streets of Brooklyn. Tonight, we talk with cops in Bay Ridge caught in the middle of the chaos who jumped to action. Tonight, Alyssa Palicelli picks up the story.
Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Inside.
This is the point of view of Officer Hector Santini and Lieutenant John Vitale as they jumped out of their patrol car to usher nearly 36 Bay Ridge prep students and staff to Safety Monday. At the same time, just a short distance away, 62-year-old Wang Sor was allegedly behind the wheel of the U-Haul vehicle, mowing down cyclists and pedestrians in the street.
This guy was in such a close proximity at any moment, we thought he can come down here.
When Officer Santini and Lieutenant Vitale pulled up to Ridge Boulevard, Community Affairs Officer Frank Ingerbretson was there too, with the same thought. All three officers, each of them fathers themselves, acting on quick instinct.
As I was coming to this area, it just clicked in my head. I said, oh no, the school has an open streets program. The kids could be out for lunch recess. I said, we got to get over there. Officer Santini and I, actually, we didn't even talk. We just both had the same thought.
The children from Bay Ridge Prep were playing and sitting on Ridge Boulevard at the time of the violent rampage. The 68th Precinct helped secure the permits for the open street recess program, so the officers knew the children could potentially be in harm's way. The decision to move them inside was not a directive, but quick thinking by the officers.
I just thought about my children and, my quick response. Me and the lieutenant, we both have children, and we just right away we thought we'd have to get these kids back into the school and keep them safe.
The parents and staff here at Bay Ridge Prep are very thankful for those officers and their quick thinking. The officers themselves, though, very humble, saying this is what they do, and it was just another day's work. In Brooklyn, Alyssa Policelli, New York 1.
To other news we're following this hour in Manhattan. 2 teenagers are stabbed inside a playground this afternoon. Violence broke out at the White Playground on Lexington Avenue. Officials say a 13-year-old was stabbed in the shoulder, the 16-year-old in his back. Officials say those boys are in stable condition. No word of any arrests. Moving from Manhattan to Queens now with an update on a report we first brought you this time last night out of South Ozone Park. The man accused of shooting 2 people outside of a deli allegedly pulled an AR-15 out of his backpack, locked and loaded with multiple rounds of ammunition. The 35-year-old suspected gunman now facing a number of charges, including attempted murder and criminal possession of a machine gun. Both shooting victims are expected to survive. To the other major headline tonight out of JFK, Terminal 1 in the dark right now. A fire caused a power outage, forcing the busy hub to close. Travel plans thrown into chaos for thousands of passengers. Tonight, Victoria Manna live in Queens with more. Good evening, Victoria.
Well, Cheryl, just imagine sitting on an international flight. You've already been in the air for hours, and then you're told you have to turn around and go back. Well, that's exactly what happened to some passengers headed from New Zealand to JFK. And many more here at JFK tonight have to find another way to their destination. After 2 weeks in New York City, Smilla Herbst and Joe Helsloot thought they were headed back home to Germany and Norway. But on Thursday,
we got an email that our flight has been cancelled due to a fire. Yeah, basically told us that there wasn't that much they could do for us. Just try to get us on a new flight.
The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey said the cancellation is due to a power outage at JFK's Terminal 1. The agency said the outage was caused by an electrical panel failure, which then resulted in a small fire but was immediately extinguished. The airport reported over 100 delays and over 24 cancellations, leaving travelers stranded.
Sunday, 12 a.m. is our next flight.
International flights operate out of Terminal 1. Handwritten departure boards were posted around the terminal, letting passengers know whether their flight was canceled. Herbst and Helsloot say Norse Airline is paying for them to get a hotel while they wait.
So what are you guys going to be doing in the meantime? Just study and wait in the hotel, I think. Yeah. Exams are coming up.
Others we spoke with were sent to other airports to catch a flight. But Liani Bautista's family is headed back to Atlanta after they say their flight to Greece was canceled with no alternative.
I was looking forward to see all the nice sunsets, the beautiful parks, and just mostly the beauty of the nature.
Well, I certainly do hope they get to go to Greece, but while inbound and outbound flights remain effective, it's still unclear exactly when the terminal will fully reopen. Cheryl.
Victoria Manna live for us tonight at JFK. Switching gears now to the Weather Center. New Yorkers soaking up the sunshine in Bryant Park today. We hit 70, 1 degree shy of another record. Tonight, meteorologist Mike Favetta here now with the first look at the forecast. Mike, did the rain cool things down? I never thought I'd say, did the rain cool things down in February?
In February, yet here we are, Cheryl. And I think going into the overnight, yes, there was a little bit of a cool down, but it added up some mugginess to the air. That's another word you're not familiar with in February.
We are in the twilight zone.
Here we are. And yet we have some very cold, more seasonable weather on the way by tomorrow afternoon. Doesn't feel like that if you walk outside this evening, though. Taking a stroll through Midtown, it is mild, 59 degrees at this hour, with the temperature rather warm, and the dew point, that's the measure of how much humidity is in the air, unusually warm. It's that southwesterly breeze that helped kick those temperatures to near record highs or records in some locations. JFK and LaGuardia well into the upper 60s, low 70s, also around the Northeast. So all of this mild weather sticks around for about the next 12 hours, because while there is some more rain that moves in later on in the overnight, and specifically for tomorrow morning's commute, there's a lot of cold air behind it. And that's what's creating the snow right now over the Great Lakes, so it's not too far away. We start tomorrow morning, daylight hours, with another round of steady rain, and that wet weather might even come down in buckets just off to our south. So if you're traveling in the area tomorrow, you could run into some heavy downpours even here in the city. Once we get to about 2-3 o'clock, the temperatures will be at their mildest point back in the mid-60s, even there for Staten Island, 66 degrees. But look what happens after that. We drop anywhere from 20 to 30, even feeling like a 40-degree drop as soon as 9 o'clock at night. We're in the 20s and teens later tomorrow evening into early Saturday morning. 14-degree wind chill as the sun comes up on Saturday here in the city. So a big temperature swing in just a matter of hours. Hope you enjoy the mild weather while it lasts. We'll tell you how long that cold lasts coming up with your next weather update.
We're all over the map, Mike. We'll check back soon. Thank you for that. You're watching New York One Live at 10. When we return, a lesson in second chances. A formerly incarcerated drug dealer is now president of his own construction company. New tonight, his journey from selling drugs to selling success. Also tonight, President Biden hosts a movie screening at the White House about the murder of Emmett Till. And later,
you could say my career was kind of poetic justice as this
more like poetry in motion. Tributes pouring in tonight for Baseball Hall of Famer and legendary broadcaster Tim McCarver. Live at 10 is back in 2 minutes.